The Deepal S07 was so good when it launched, Deepal quickly rolled out some updates to, shall we say, fix some software glitches and practicality issues or concerns that customers had. Well, this is the updated version. It's still a kind of mid-size, sporty SUV, taking on a kind of, you know, swooping wagon profile. It looks really nice in this color, I must say, with a Lamborghini Urus-esque rear end, full width tail light, nice bulging rear haunches, with rather fetching two-tone 5-spoke alloy wheels. Luckily they're not 4-spoke. I do notice these tyres have been updated as well. They're now Dunlop Sport Max 255s, front and rear. They used to be 235 Gitty tyres, so it's good to see that they've put some decent tyres on it now. In terms of the updates, Deepal has revised the service interval change, so it's now 20,000 kilometres instead of 10,000 kilometres. The driver monitoring system and cruise control have been enhanced to better meet the expectations of Australian drivers. And the cruise control has been refined to improve performance, particularly addressing the speed reduction behaviour when approaching bends. So basically, if you had the cruise control on and you came up to a corner or a bend, the vehicle would suddenly brake or suddenly slow down thinking you're going to go straight ahead. So it seems like they've tried to fix that. We'll test it out later on. And Deepal goes on to say that these changes reflect its brand vision for creating safe and enjoyable vehicles. I guess that is a bit of an issue, or it is for me anyway, having a computer on wheels. The ability to constantly update it, and you get to a point, like a mobile phone, that you cannot update it anymore. And I guess in some ways it is sort of promoting consumerism and promoting us to buy more vehicles and just replace the ones that replace the ones that are out of date. You know, you used to rebuild cars and service cars and fix them. These days, once the computer software is out of date, that's it. You'll have to replace it. No one's going to, well, I doubt many people are going to fit a new software or hardware package in a vehicle like this. But anyway, inside we've got a nicely presented cabin. I do actually quite like the design going on, apart from the massive laptop on the dashboard. It does have some quality elements to it, like this, well, it's not quilted stitching, but this kind of pattern stitching for all across the floor there. And you've got this nice wood trimming for the doors and decent space in the back. These seats are actually set further beyond the C-pillar there. It gives you a bit of an idea of how much room you've got. Plenty of leg room, and yeah, more of that patterned stitching for the floor mat. I've got a decent amount of room in here. My head's nowhere near the ceiling. You kind of sit down quite low. I'll shut the door, but you might be too dark. I'll just open the window, let some light in. So my head is pretty low, so my eye line is almost at the top of the door sill. So if you've got kids or something like that, they might feel a little bit sort of sunken down. It's got a bit of a coupe sort of theme going on, and if you have a look out the back, like, it's not the best visibility for an SUV. I know it's kind of got a coupe profile going about it at the back a little bit, but not that much. I've driven proper 4-door coupe SUVs that offer more visibility than that. You do have climate control and controls for the massive panoramic sunroof, but weirdly you've just got the single vent, so people have to, or 2 people in the back or 3 people in the back have to take turns of receiving nice cool air or warm air, depending on what you've got. Nice big center console here, cup holders as well. And then up at the back, one of the slowest tailgates I've ever seen, you've got a reasonable amount of room there. I mean, it's not much bigger than a little hatchback, because these new age vehicles, for some reason, they just really eat into the sidewall. So it's actually quite a narrow space for this size and type of vehicle. You do have some tie-down hooks on the left and right, little hooks there as well, and more of that stitched pattern stuff for the floor of the boot. No changes have been made to the powertrain. You've got a roughly 80 kilowatt hour battery providing a range of 475 kilometers. It feeds energy to a rear mounted electric motor producing 160 kilowatts. I actually don't mind the way this thing drives. There's a bit of sort of seesawing action going on with the suspension, which I have found with other EVs as well. But other than that, it actually does offer pretty good rear-wheel drive style of dynamics when you're down a winding road or whatever. we'll go for a drive and test out some of those new safety features, and yeah, just kind of rekindle with what this thing is like. You've got a few different drive modes to choose from, including Eco, Comfort, Sport, and a Customize mode, allowing you to adjust the different settings for your preference. We'll just kick off with Sport mode. And yeah, as I said, this does offer good rear-wheel drive dynamics. I mean, it is rear-wheel drive, but if you find some nice twisty roads and so on, you can actually kick the tail out a little bit, and it's sort of like a Toyota GR86 in some ways, in that, yeah, it'll just sort of playfully kick out. It doesn't have too much power for its chassis. The suspension could be tied down a little bit more, I reckon. It does have this kind of seesaw effect. As I said, it's, you know, bobbling front and back. But even the suspension, like in terms of comfort, is good. It's soaking up the bumps just fine. And obviously I realize this is not meant to be a sports car or a high performance SUV. It's just a sort of city runaround. But you know, you can get into something like a Kia Seltos or whatever, and it handles quite nicely, but it still absorbs bumps and it's still comfortable for the city. So it is possible to come up with a good tune, and I think this is getting close. It just needs to sort of resolve that sort of pivoting front and back a little bit. It'd be nice if they offered a sports version, like an actual performance version, with a little bit more power and, yeah, revised dampers, or even bimodal dampers, or whatever you want to call it, adaptive dampers, just to give it a bit more of a dynamic range. It definitely feels quick though, 160 kilowatts against sort of near 2-ton curb weight. Doesn't have the best power to weight ratio, but as per typical with electric motors, you've got instant response from the throttle. So the moment you hit the pedal, the moment it starts going, which you wouldn't get otherwise with a 160 kilowatt petrol engine, for example. The brakes feel pretty good as well. EVs usually offer pretty good braking performance because it does use a bit of regen to help it out. Yeah, a bit of body wobble coming back, but yeah, not too bad considering this is not meant to be a high performance model. Driving position is natural. I can lower the seat right down if I want to. The steering wheel comes right out at my chest if I wanted to. So yeah, you've got full adjustability there to offer a nice range of adjustment for all different shapes and sizes. Good grip around that corner as well. That was pretty much full throttle. The new tyres, 255s, I think offer a bit more, well, they would offer a bit more grip because, what's this saying? The performance drive mode degraded. I missed that. But yeah, they would offer a bit more grip, being a bit wider, but I think they're better than the old Gitty tyres anyway, just in terms of the tread quality and so on. But yeah, overall, this is feeling pretty good. I don't mind taking this for a drive down a winding road. And as I said, it's not designed for that, but you know, there's other SUVs out there that can do it as well. And you've got good engagement through the steering, a bit of playful character with that rear wheel drive setup. Deepal claims 0 to 100 in 7.9 seconds, but I've tested 7.60 in the kind of pre-facelifted or pre-updated version. I'm guessing this would be exactly the same. There's no hardware difference apart from those tyres. You know, there might be a slight change in rolling resistance and unsprung mass, but yeah, it's not going to make a measurable difference anyway. So 7.6 seconds is reasonable for a small or mid-size SUV like this, but I guess it doesn't stack up that well against especially the flagship rivals in terms of being an EV. Alright, out on the highway, let's test some of those safety features and the updates. I've got everything turned on, including all of the driver monitoring camera, the lane keep assist, and just we'll see how it functions. The driver monitoring camera has gone off at me a couple of times, just in preparation of making this video. There we go, please concentrate. because I'm looking at that screen, and it's kind of hard not to look at the screen. It's a massive computer on the dash. It also is where the speed limit, the speed display is. So it's hard to drive and not look at this massive screen. You can't engage with anything else apart from the indicators and the gear shifter. Everything else is within that screen. So it's kind of contradictory in some ways. And I know I'm probably sounding a bit old now, but what's wrong with an instrument cluster? I've never driven a car where I've thought that stupid instrument cluster needs to get out of the way. You know, it's nicely hidden down there just for the driver to provide the vital information. There's another sort of issue I've got with this setup as well. So this has got blind spot cameras. The camera's mounted beneath the side mirrors. So I'll indicate there's no one beside me. Put my indicator on. You get a little display down here on the main screen. Now, if you've got maps going, which you might have if you're in the city or something, indicating a lot going through city streets, that keeps popping up. I mean, you can just click X, but it's just an inconvenience that doesn't need to be there. And if it had an instrument cluster with that display up here, like Hyundai Kia do, then it would just be, yeah, it would avoid that potential inconvenience. But also, the camera is mounted so it points straight out to the side. Like I'll indicate on this way, and it's just giving me a view straight out that way, which is kind of pointless. That's not a blind spot. I can see there, and I can see straight away there. So it really needs to sort of spray backwards like the Hyundai Kia models do and other vehicles to give me a view of my actual blind spot. But yeah, I find that a little bit annoying and frustrating. I'd rather that just disappear. There might be a setting in there where you can actually remove it, so apologies if you can actually turn that off. Okay, I've got the cruise control system activated. You just pull down on the drive shifter there, and I've got the steering assist activated as well. So technically, you're not allowed to do this in Australia, but it's steering itself, kind of bouncing in the lane a little bit, but it is quite a windy day, and providing full autonomous driving, basically. Please turn the steering wheel gently so it knows you're alive. But yeah, so far so good. The driver monitoring camera keeps going off a fair bit as soon as you engage with the screen. But yeah, there's no sort of denying the level of technology going on here. And I still think, and I know again I'm getting old, I still think there's too much technology packed into one system. Like, we haven't even encountered viruses in cars yet. This is a computer after all, and you know, I think viruses will be part of the automotive world in the future. And if this gets affected, which I have seen screens shut down while you're driving, it's numerous times. So if this shuts down, everything's gone, everything. This does have head-up display, so at least I can keep an eye on my speed. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense to have everything packed into one screen. I guess probably that's why, you know, the aviation industry hasn't adopted a massive touchscreen for planes. You know, you need fail-safe, you need mechanical switches and so on. But as I said, if you're interested in technology like this, then this vehicle will definitely tickle your fancy. I think the ride quality is good. The driving manners are pretty good for a rear-wheel drive EV that's 2 tons. Good fit and finish as well. No creaks or rattles around the place. And prices start from just over $54,000 excluding on roads, which is a pretty good price. That's not bad for this size vehicle for an EV in the market today. I've got the pre-updated review linked in the description of this video. There's also a 0 to 100 video there as well. Thanks for watching.